Welcome to News Kids Can Use. I'm Tori Ogawa.
I'm Emin Rogers.
And this is the show about all the weird and wacky, straight up strange things that explain what your grown-ups have been freaking out about lately.
That's right. And we're going to do some headlines, and then we have a couple of special sections, including one called Canines at Curbside. On this week's News Kids Can Use, we actually have to start on a sad note because in the last couple of weeks, the U.S. has passed a tragic milestone of 500,000 deaths from COVID, just in the U.S. alone. So that's 500,000 people with families and dreams and lives that are no longer with us who were 1 year ago. So we're just going to take a moment of silence on this show to honor those that have passed away. Thank you for doing that with us. It's important that we keep in mind those that we've lost, even though the numbers continue to climb and get harder and harder to wrap our minds around.
Now, that is a really, really devastating milestone for us, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The vaccine count is going up every single day, and about 1.6 million doses a day are being administered, maybe even more now. And about 5.9% of America's population have been given both doses, and that number is rising every day. So we are getting closer to getting everyone vaccinated and overcoming this pandemic.
The Mars rover from NASA, Perseverance, touched down successfully on February 18th. It was super fun to watch, and it is carrying with it Ingenuity, which is a small helicopter, aka the first rotorcraft aircraft on another planet. Stay tuned. In the next couple months, it's going to take its first flight, and fingers crossed that it all works out.
A few weeks ago, Texas experienced some massive power outage due to some snowstorms and super cold weather. The situation there is much better than it was a few weeks ago. There are still some people without power, and a lot of people have donated money from around the country to help people in Texas get water, food, and heat. On today's big deal, we have a serious topic to discuss. It's anti-Asian sentiment, and sentiment means feelings, and so there's a lot of these big upset feelings towards Asian Americans, and this really hits close to home for me because I am Asian American, and so this is a really difficult subject and sensitive subject for me to talk about.
Lately, there has been a definite uptick in incidents of hate against Asians and Asian Americans. So the first big outbreak of COVID-19 was in Wuhan, China. And then unfortunately, it didn't take long for the national conversation here in the United States to turn to blaming China for the virus. And of course, a virus is nobody's fault. And we're going to go through a couple of examples now, but we want you to keep in mind that this is uncomfortable and it's kind of scary to talk about. And it is never, ever okay to attack somebody for sure, but certainly just to harbor negative feelings against somebody because of their race.
So a really big example of this happened a few weeks back. An 84-year-old man in San Francisco, he was on his regular morning walk and he was shoved to the ground, actually almost tackled to the ground, and later died in the hospital due to some head trauma.
And then even here in Seattle, which is pretty close to home for us, a woman was pushed down in a crosswalk and somebody said really hateful and obviously racist things to her about her Asian descent. So people are making it quite clear in many of these situations, which have been happening across the country more and more, they're doing it because their victims are Asian or of Asian descent.
There are a lot of bad things happening to Asian people around the country. But because of this, there are a lot of people stepping up in the community to help the Asian community. So there's people, especially in the San Francisco area or in the California area, who have joined together to create kind of like an escort program for the elders in their community to walk them to the grocery stores to make them feel more comfortable. There's even a website called Stop AAPI Hate that is a reporting site so that people can report the crimes that are being done against them.
That's right. And it's really nice to remember that there are people who are stepping up, even while there are people who are acting so badly.
We talked a lot about what grown-ups are doing in the community to help other people feel safe. And so you as kids can also do that, especially in school. A lot of Asian kids in school are being bullied because of their race and all this stuff that's happening during the pandemic. You can help your fellow classmates or friends by standing up to anyone who's bullying them, or if you see something, tell a teacher or tell a grown-up that you trust and make sure that they're okay.
Exactly. It's really important now, but also to decide what kind of grown-up you want to be when you do grow up, to decide that if you see something wrong, you're going to try to do something about it. There are many other facets of this story and many other takeaways that you can get out of it. But one of my most important things that I'm thinking about right now is, how do I be a good friend to my friends of Asian descent? How do I make sure I'm there for my neighbors? How do I make sure that when I see something wrong, I can do something about it?
If you're worried or concerned about something like this happening to you, or if you are being bullied, tell a grown-up that you trust. It's important to speak up and say something when hurtful things are happening to you. You are loved and you are special. You shouldn't feel bad about yourself because of who you are and what your race is. You're not to blame for a virus just because of your race, and you shouldn't let other people make you feel that way.
Your friends love you, your neighbors love you, your family loves you, and you're not to blame for the one person or people who are making you feel that you're not deserving of that. We were curious what some of our furriest patrons thought of curbside, so I went out and asked them.
Hi, what do you think of the libraries? I love you too. Look at the library. Hi, we love you too. Do you have any comments about the library? Do you like coming to curbside? Hi, can you tell me about curbside today? How was your curbside experience? Want to say anything? See your fans? Hi. You want to say anything else? How do you feel about the tree? No, she's done.
Thank you for watching News Kids Can Use, a show all about the weird, wacky, and straight up strange things that have been making your grown-ups freak out lately. We hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back in 2 weeks. I'm Emin Rogers.
And I'm Tori Ogawa. And if you have a furry friend or other type of pet that you want to bring and show us at Curbside, please do so.